Good morning. Today we are talking about the magic of habits to celebrate the start of the Momentum Club, which is our online community at the Tranquil Mind Naturopath. And so this morning we have Dr. Emily Bennett joining us because she is I'm just sending her an unexpected. She is a master of habits and she has her own habit challenge. Hi, Emily. Good morning.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good. Sorry, I feel like I interrupted your introduction.
No, I was just saying that you're like a habit magician. And I'm so excited to, be talking to you about habits this morning because I know you've got your new challenge starting today, I think, about habits being magic. And so as I was getting ready to start the Momentum Club, I was like, Emily will know all about habits, because when I think of consistency and community and people in the world of naturopathic medicine that are doing cool things in that space, you are one of the people that I think of. So,
oh my gosh.
Thank you for coming to chat today. How's your morning?
It's pretty good. I told you I got a flat tire yesterday. My first ever flat tire. It was really not great. I was on my way to visit a friend I haven't seen in a really long time. And we got a flat tire. So I had kind of an unusual morning. Oh my gosh, my friend just joined who I was going to visit yesterday when I got the flat tire. So I had to borrow a car this morning to drive my littlest one to preschool. But you know what? It's all good. I'm feeling good. I'm excited to talk to you. And it feels like a really nice way to start my morning, to just, talk to you, a dear colleague who I feel like I have a lot in common with and love to chat with. So this is great.
Oh, I feel the same way. We've had we're having a no school day here due to runny noses. And so it's nice to, have something fun happening.
Yeah.
So when you talk about habits, Emily, I want to just jump right in. You talk about how they are magic.
Yes.
Can you just share where this idea is from, or what you mean when you're like habits are magic?
Yes, absolutely. So I've always been fascinated with habits and establishing routine and becoming, developing expertise or consistency with things. And I read this book called Good Habit, Bad Habit by Wendy Wood sometime early last year. And she has this line in there that I think describes really well why I always say habits are magic, and that's what the challenge is called. And it's that habits persist despite our conscious, okay, hold on, I'm going to get it in front of me so I don't mess this up. Habits persist despite our conscious intentions to do otherwise.
Ooh, despite our conscious intentions to do otherwise.
Right? Habits are automatic. Once a behavior is a habit, you engage in it automatically without using any executive control, without making a decision about doing the thing, despite your conscious intentions to maybe do otherwise. Yeah? Mm-hmm. So it's it's not really helpful for us to think about habits as good habits and bad habits. It's more interesting and helpful, I think, to just think about habits, if a habit is a behavior that persists despite my conscious intentions to do otherwise, how did it become that way? And how can I become conscious about creating a habit that better serves me in any way I decide? She has so much useful stuff in this book. It's really I really recommend it. It's not one of those books that is this is how you become more productive. It's really more about this is how habits work, and isn't that interesting? And you could use this if you want.
I love that tone. I love it.
Yeah.
I think there's something. Oh, I have so many thoughts that they all ran away. Do you ever have that happen to you, where you're just so excited about something? It's just oh, what was I even going to ask her about?
Yeah.
Because...
Go ahead.
Okay, because I think there's this like piece of habits where we're like, oh, I really want to do this differently.
Yeah.
And the non-judgmental language that you use when you talk about habits around like not labeling, just observing, and then saying like, how do we go about influencing that? In the Tranquil Minds program, we talk a lot about getting back in the driver's seat of your health. Because when your life has become overrun with anxiety, it can feel like you're not actually making the calls anymore. And I think this happens in habits as well, whether they're anxious habits or just life habits.
Yeah.
Where you're like, I'm not consciously doing this. This is not in my intention. So for someone who's noticing that maybe there's a small thing in their life or maybe a large part of their life where they feel like they're not the one driving the car, that they're sitting in the passenger seat, where is that helpful or unhelpful? And how can we start looking at like, oh, I actually like that I'm not driving this? Or alternatively, I'm not driving this decision and I'm actually not happy with the results of it.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many things I want to say about what you just said. We know that everybody spends almost over 40% of their day acting out of habit. So that again just means doing things automatically, doing things without deciding to do them. You're not deciding to brush your teeth before bed. You just like find yourself in the bathroom brushing your teeth and then you go to bed. And so yeah, with respect to like not having judgment about it, I think that we're unaware really of things that are habits for us. We may be able to think of, one or two things that we judge as a good or a bad habit. Like I'm great at drinking water. That's a great habit I have. Or like I'm bad. I hit snooze a bunch of times before I get out of bed. That's a bad habit I have. But we don't realize all the things we are doing out of habit. So, something I think that could answer, kind of what you put forward is like trying to maybe take an inventory of a time of day where you feel either particularly like in control or out of control of like what's happening in the driver's seat or not. And sort of like taking inventory of how your time is spent. Because then you can reflect back on it and be like, oh, I don't even like watching the news before I go to bed at night. I actually like, why do I do that every night? It might allow you to check into how those behaviors make you feel and give you an opportunity to make a conscious left turn. I don't know, like move away from that, choose something else to do. Does that answer what you were saying?
Yeah, I think so. That awareness piece and that I love that invitation to do a time journal of like, what's even happening? Like if 40% of our day is just automatic, then getting interested as to what's happening that 40% of the time seems like a natural place to be like, wow, I'm not even thinking, and look at all these pieces that are really serving me that I don't have to worry about. Or alternatively, like really looking in and being like, this is not getting to me where I want to go. I don't feel great after I do this. Maybe there's things that we can put in to create. So your challenge, Habits Are Magic, they're about making one new habit, right? So can you just give like an overview?
Yeah, so
Oh, we got a delay.
Sorry, we have a tiny delay because I got a phone call while you were talking. Yeah. Oh, and there's something else I wanted to say. I love just what the example you just gave about like noticing what is serving you, noticing what is like what you could feel like great about that you're already doing out of habit for yourself. I think especially, right now, a lot of people may be struggling with like health anxiety in particular. And so I think that if you're worrying about like, am I even doing a good job of caring for myself because, like I'm having trouble. I don't know if I'm eating enough vegetables, all these things that could be not ideal or optimal. Well, then like doing an inventory might make clear to you all the things that you are doing with ease that really are supporting your health right now. And maybe, I don't know, give you space to not feel so anxious or.
I find that with any kind of anxiety that is a great place to start, whether that's health anxiety, whether that's environmental anxiety, whether that is like any kind of anxiety. Like, wait, what am I actually doing here that is contributing to the results that I want is
Yeah.
a great calming baseline. Let's bring that in. Yeah.
I love that. I love that. Yeah, habits are magic. Okay, so the idea is that like I want to share the information about how you can turn a behavior into a habit, or even, you know, if you have noticed a habit that's not serving you, shift towards some other behavior and start building that into a habit so that that becomes the easier choice. But it also is a lot about like, I want to sort of empower people with the information about how to do that so that in the 5-day challenge, which isn't enough time, it is not enough time to build a new habit. Let's be clear. We can talk about that too, but it is enough time to set that up for yourself, to get it, ready to become a habit, to make a behavior, like line it up so it's ready to become habitual. And so, yeah, we do the sort of like inventory observation piece. Like, let's talk about habits, what they are. Let's try to identify some for you. You know, my feeling about health and well-being is really like, it's very personal. I don't think everybody needs to do the same like thing for health and well-being necessarily. And the thing that might serve you most right now might just be something like walking the dog before breakfast instead of after breakfast. And that really is going to have a massive impact on your well-being. So we talk a lot about that too. Like, this isn't about like, this is what you have to do to be more productive or more whatever the thing is I think could be helpful. This is about what you think is going to be helpful for you. And so, yeah, there are 3 key things that are required to turn a behavior, which is something you're choosing to do, into something that is automatic, aka a habit. Should we talk through them?
Yes, I would love. I want to know all this.
Okay, so the first one is, I think like a lot of this as we go through it, this is all based in like neuroscience and people who are behavioral scientists trying to figure out how habits work. And hi, Megan. And so, yeah, that's where this is coming from. The first piece is about context and environment. And I really like this because I feel like we often do this naturally. You know, like if you have, let's say you want to have a habit of like walking your dog first thing in the morning, you know, you might do something like get your coat out and hang it on the bottom of the stairs and put the dog leash over the bottom, the like railing. And in that way, you already are modifying your environment, modifying the context of your morning so that when you come down the stairs, you see the dog leash and you're like, yes, like I really want to start walking my dog first thing in the morning. So that is the first piece. That really makes a difference. And a lot of us do that naturally. You know, a lot of people will be like, I want to start jogging. And so they buy a new pair of shoes, like whether or not they really need the shoes or not, that may be what they're inclined to do. And that, you know, the context and environment piece really says that's actually helpful. You know, that actually, when you have the new shoes and they draw your attention because they weren't there before, that has changed your environment in such a way that you're going to be reminded, yes, I wanted to try and start jogging. And what's cool about this is that like you can keep coming back to this because it is not easy to form a new habit. It can be streamlined when you know these steps, you know the things that your brain is looking for in order to turn a behavior into a habit. But this makes it, a little bit more easy. I can't remember exactly what I was saying. Oh yeah, but you can come back to environment and context. You know, if you do the thing 5 times in a row and then you fall off of it for 5 times in a row, you can be like, okay, wait a second, I still want to do this. Change something about your context and environment again. You know, maybe having the leash over the railing doesn't do it for you anymore. It's not getting you to walk your dog first thing in the morning. Okay, so now what are you going to do? You're going to put your shoes like right by the door. You're going to write a note on your bedside table. You're going to, again, try to change something about your context and environment to encourage yourself to do the thing you want to do. Thoughts?
I love that. And I love how you're saying is like, that is something that we naturally do for ourselves. When I fall off of planner life and like really doing my agenda the way that I know sets me up for having more headspace in my day because I'm not worrying what I'm supposed to do.
Yeah.
I leave it open on my desk with a pen on it.
Yeah.
And then I go into my office and like, what am I supposed to do? All right, check your planner. That
Yeah.
you probably left yourself notes.
Yeah.
Like, but you know, it's just one of those things, we're pulling things out, making them accessible. I love Casey Davis over at Struggle Care. She talks so much about functional setups of your home environment and how, like, it doesn't have to be pretty. If what you need is to steam mop your floor more easily, and leaving your mop in your kitchen lets you do that,
Yeah.
you can see it and you can be reminded, and you don't have to put it away and grab it, and it removes the steps to steam mopping your floor. She has little kids. This is why she wants to steam mop her floors more. But like, just leave it out. This is where it goes now. It doesn't have to go in the closet. It can work for you. And I think we can get lost in aesthetics and lose like the functionality that an environment can set up. The goal of the environment is not necessarily to be pretty. In fact, usually isn't. Unless, you know, that's bringing you joy. But if it's taking away from your function, that's a whole other problem. So I just love that environment set up.
Yeah, I love that too. That's a really good example. I think too, you saying like, oh yeah, we do this naturally. It's like, yeah, of course, your brain desires habits. Habits are easy. Habits don't require decision making. Habits don't require you to think about what you're going to do before you do it. There's, you know, that's why 40% of what you do is automatic, because your brain is like, make a habit out of this. I don't want to have to spend time remembering to walk the dog. So like you're naturally inclined to do these things. It's not like try this and it'll work. It's like, this is what your brain is already doing. So now that you know, you can get in front of it and like change the environment to push you towards the behavior you desire to do. So cool.
And same with interrupting habits. Like if you have a habit where you're having a glass of wine at the end of the day to calm down, you could like move your wine glasses so that when you go to get them, they're not in the same spot, and that interrupts the, oh wait, do I actually want a glass of wine right now? Like little things like that interruption, I think is just, I love that language of it gets ahead of your brain. Anyway, I know there's other pieces for making habits.
Okay, so the next part is reward. So reward is not something we need to look down upon. Again, it's like literally just how your brain works. Reward is the thing that makes you want to choose that behavior again. So I gave this example the other day because I was having dinner with my husband and some friends, and he has picked up a yoga habit for the first time ever over the pandemic. And he was talking to our friends, and they were like, oh yeah, like I'd like to do it more regularly, but I just can't. I love, you know, Shavasana. I love lying down at the end. And he was just like, yeah, you just have to you have to think about that, you know, and then do the yoga so you can get to that part. That's so good. And I was like, oh, that's an intrinsic reward, because that you want to, like, with the behavior that you want to do, you want to be thoughtful about it. Like, you want to walk your dog in the morning. Okay, you know, what is the benefit? Why do you want to walk your dog first thing in the morning? Is it because like the intrinsic reward is like you get to see the sunrise and the street is quiet when you're out there? Like when you're experiencing the sunrise, try to take a moment to like soak that in and really enjoy it, you know? And then you can also layer an extrinsic reward on that too. Like maybe you walk to the cafe, maybe you get yourself a coffee. Like maybe that is a part of what you're doing. When you think in advance of the behavior you want to turn into a habit, and you consider like, what is the intrinsic reward of this behavior? What could be an extrinsic reward of this behavior? Then you can set yourself up. Then your brain chooses that path over the other one, because our brain works with rewards. It's like looking for a dopamine fix, you know? And what's really cool about that too is that, especially with extrinsic rewards, you don't have to have it every time. That's actually even better for your brain. Your brain wants, your brain is going to chase it harder if you don't always get the extrinsic reward, which I think is pretty cool, you know, like, so reward, that's the second one.
I love that. Sometimes when we go for a walk, we stop at the coffee shop.
Yeah.
I have personally used that one, but with breakfast sandwiches.
Yes, awesome.
Go for your walk, and if you're really hungry because you've walked so much, get a breakfast sandwich. And I don't do it every time, but like, oh my God, I love them. Anyway,
you're walking
what I missed
the donut shop, for sure. Yeah.
That's what I missed when everything was closed. I couldn't go get a breakfast sandwich.
Oh yeah.
I must need a breakfast sandwich. It's 10:30 in the morning and I'm talking about them.
You should eat one for sure.
Yeah, later for sure. Last last piece of this habit magic?
It's repetition. I mean, you knew it was coming. It's repetition. You need to repeat the behavior. So let's talk about numbers. I have them all written down here so that I can like actually, give people the information they want. So Katie, how many times do you think you have to repeat something so it becomes a habit?
I have heard a variety of different numbers out there. I've heard 21 times, which frankly seems a little on the low end. So I don't know. What if I did something 100 times? What if I did it 1,000 times? I'm curious.
Yes. I can't remember. I once had the information in my brain about why 21 has like been in our brains about how long it takes. It is wrong. You're right. It's not enough, unfortunately. I think maybe before I give you the numbers, I want to say this. Every time you do the behavior, the path gets more defined in your brain. Every time you do the behavior, the like little deer path you take through the woods starts to become an actual trail. And it doesn't go away. Like when you stop doing a thing for a month, it's still there. It's just like you're walking by the path. You're just not taking it. It's still there, the little deer path, you could take it. And so that's something I want to put out there before I say these numbers, because like it is a lot of people's inclinations, including my own, to like be like, I'm going to do this thing every day or 5 days a week or whatever. And you do it 2 days a week, and then you miss out on it for the next 3, and then you miss on it for the next 7. And then you do it again, and you're just like, I'm a failure. I'm not doing the thing. And it just doesn't work that way. Like that's not how your brain works. And so erase that idea from your head. There is no perfect. There's no perfect. You can't be perfect about this, and your work does not go away. So the number of repetitions varies depending on what you're trying to create a habit. The examples that I have are from this book. So, and those come from the research. The short answer is it's more than 2 months. It's more than 60 times that you have to do something. That seems to be, I think 45 days is the shortest that they found people were able to turn certain behaviors into habits, or 45 times repeated. Depending on what the habit is that you're trying to form, it gets longer. So, exercise and movement is something a lot of people are like, I'm going to bring this awesome movement into my life, and that's the thing I want to do every day. And it feels hard because it's hard. It takes longer than anything else. It seems to take 91 days was what one of the studies shows to turn. So 3 months. If it feels hard, it's because it's hard. And so how do you do that? It's like, come back to the context, come back to the environment, come back to the reward. Feel free to modify the behavior to better suit your life. Like if you think it's going to be running 5K every day, and then you realize like, actually it would be great if you could just remember to like walk around your neighborhood a few times before you go to bed, like, change things, you can build upon it.
Yeah, I love that. And I think it's in line with when we see the benefits of exercise for some of the health benefits. Most of the things that I look at are anxiety and depression and mental health. And like, I talk to people like, we're going to start moving, and you're going to see the full benefits of this 12 weeks from now. Because everyone is like, oh, the runner's high. I get the dopamine right away. And if you get that, amazing. But like the full benefits of an exercise program for anxiety show up once it's a habit.
Yeah.
90 days from now.
I know. Yeah.
So it's hard. And
I
loved your analogy for the neurology of like, it's a path. It's still there. And when I think of the habits, so my habit that I think I have spent the most time growing over the past 5 years is meditation. And it is very much a deer path when it started. I would say it's a pretty good path now, but I don't walk on it every day, but some days I do. And I walk on it sometimes more than once a day. Like it's there for me. Yeah. And if I had given up the first time I meditated 5 days in a row and then didn't meditate for 3 months, like I wouldn't have that as a skill set that
Mm-hmm.
I can use as needed.
Mm-hmm.
Whether that's as a daily practice or whether as that's a moment where I'm just feeling really frazzled and I would rather center my thoughts. And so, you know, it takes time. I've been
Yeah.
working on this for actual years.
Yeah.
Years.
I know this is a part of the work that you do with people, but I love, like, what stood out to me in that example is like a part of your context, a part of the environment that can be cueing you into the behavior is how you feel. You know, like you can start to link, like, some early aspect of like mounting anxiety to like today would be I like this is driving me to my meditation pillow. Like this is the context I need in order to say, okay, go today, pick that up again. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Can I hear a little bit about the community that's getting started for you?
Yes, I would love to tell you about it. So we are launching the Momentum Club.
Cool.
And Momentum Club is born from a really deep need that I feel in my community for peer support.
Mm.
The idea that you can go to, I think, really any healthcare provider, get information that is good and science-based and has been shown to help, a lot of people reduce their anxiety is great. And that is what I do. And I love that. But what happens once you've adapted that into your life? You've worked on it for 6 or 12 weeks. You've implemented those habits. You've learned those. How do we keep going? How do we keep going with what we've created, what habits we've created? And then on the other side is how do we keep growing? How do we take this foundation that we've built out and actually grow more and learn more and become even more of ourselves?
Yeah.
And I was asked, so I've been running the Tranquil Minds program for 6 years in practice, one-on-one with patients, and as they graduate, I ask my patients the same questions. And one of that is, what do you need to keep support? What do you need to keep going? And where do you want to grow? And the Momentum Club was really built as my response to the answer to those questions, because what I was hearing most was that I need more accountability. I need more support, but I don't need more naturopathic appointments.
Yeah.
I don't need to come see you every week anymore. I'm better. Right? And so I knew, based on everything that I know about community medicine, that the magic here is not in me telling people what to do anymore, but in being able to bring together people who are working on the same pillars. So we have 5 pillars that we were working really to create habits, and then explore elevating a habit into a ritual in my community. And so those are around nutrition, sleep, mindfulness, connection, and exercise.
Movement? Yeah.
Yeah. And
I've read your book.
Yeah. So those are pillars that we're working on elevating, and rather than working on them on our own, what we're going to do in the Momentum Club is we're going to work on them together.
Nice.
And we're going to have coffee together and meditate. We're going to have lectures, and we're going to do book club where we bring in books. Maybe one future we'll bring in this habits book.
Read it. It's so good.
But our first book is on the power of ritual and how we can take what we're already doing in our lives and add meaning to it to help us feel more connected to ourselves, our community, to nature, and to transcendence. And so, yeah, I'm so excited about it. I think this is like the most excited I've been about any work I have done to this date, because I think it is going to be incredibly powerful.
Oh yeah. I mean, there's no doubt too that like even facilitating like a group like community medicine thing, that it's feels so beneficial to the facilitator, I find. So I'm not surprised that you feel excited. I'm not surprised that you're like, I want to be together with these people, Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I think,
Awesome.
yeah, when you shine that lens, it's like, okay, I am definitely on the extreme side of the extrovert spectrum. And I know that, in this time, online communities are very important to me.
Yeah.
And so, and even for folks that are not on the extrovert side, that are on the introvert side, I think online communities in this time are nourishing as well.
Yeah.
And so yeah, thank you for that mirror of like, yeah, I need this too.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. So excited for your people to join up the Momentum Club.
Yeah, it's going to be so fun.
If anybody wants to do Habits Are Magic, it's a free 5-day challenge and it starts today.
Amazing.
My profile. You'll get sent a video and a worksheet every day, and I'll go live and kind of like answer questions every day at 4, and it's fun. I like doing it. This is about the fourth or fifth time we've done it.
I've been watching this challenge of yours for a while, and I was just so happy to have you come and share about the magic of habits.
Yep. Great talking with you about it.
Thanks, Emily.
Thank you, Katie. I hope you have a great rest of your day and that like things go smoothly, even with a kiddo home unexpectedly.
Yeah, it is what it is. We're used to that by now.
True.
We have habits.
Yes. Yeah.
All right.
Okay, awesome. Take care.
You too. Bye, Emily.
Bye.